Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome along. Tuesday night means one thing. It is the Tuesday ticket here on the bus. So, of course, always grab your ticket and take your seat. It's time for some more Celtic chit-chat, and there's certainly a lot flying around. There's a lot of rumbling going on, mostly coming from the other side of the city as the fallout rages on after that fiery fixture at the weekend. We'll be diving into all of the ticket team. Joining me, we've got the Wanderer, Johnny Logue. Johnny, are you in anywhere exotic tonight, or are you at home?
Oh, I'm just at home tonight, just at home in Lincoln. I'm off to Boston on Thursday, and that's not Boston, Lincolnshire, that's Boston, USA. So I'm looking forward to that little trip.
Nice one. I'm sure that the Boise Bus Bumblebee shot will be getting wheeled out in Boston, Mass.
Yeah, it's already packed and ready to go, yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, some of the pictures that you send us in the old group chat. Jet setting all over the world, but that Boise Bus shot certainly gets some mileage in there, popping up in all sorts of corners of the globe. And speaking of the Boise Bus shot, a man in the bottom corner here, the man who doesn't mince his words, and I'm sure he won't be mincing his words tonight when we get on to a certain topic about a certain team and a certain manager. Yeah, Connor Carr down there. How are you doing, my friend? I imagine you're doing pretty well right now, my friend.
I'm on cloud 10 if there was a thing, lads. I'm absolutely buzzing after that. I had a lovely weekend with the missus, got to see the Celtic story, good atmosphere, recommend everybody to go. And just that result on the Sunday, just the cherry on top of the big green and white and orange Sunday, gold I should say. Yeah, let's just have a good time, let the good times roll, and let's move on.
Indeed, we shall indeed. And of course, below me here, a man I'm usually on Friday nights, sometimes Wednesday nights now. But tonight, it's Tuesday night, we're on together. Liam, Canada's favourite Tim, the wise man of the bus. How are you doing, mate?
Good, mate. How you doing? I was good. Watched the game from my house this week. I was sick as a dog.
Must have been an early one, though. Would have been 4:30 in the morning for you over there.
But maybe I could get there. I was just dying, but it was weird. So, because it was such a early time and all that, I watched it 4 a.m. in a city that was empty with the windows open and that, and just a different vibe altogether. Watching it yourself,
Oh, no. You need somebody with you at least to get you through it. It's an emotional roller coaster.
I was hoping I'd hear somebody from another house screaming after Kyogo scored and find the others, man. No.
Oh man, no, this is an early shift for you, but fair play. You go up, saw it through, and we'll be obviously talking about that and giving our opinions on it. If we've not had a chance to have our say on the fallout from it yet, before we do that, of course, folks, I'll just remind everybody to do all that good stuff if you will. Obviously, hit that like button, helps us out in the old algorithm. CSC gets the Boise Bus name put into recommended videos of other people on YouTube. Obviously, you can hit the subscribe button and keep us in your life just that wee tad longer. Remember, hit the bell notification and you'll know when we go live. Also, get involved in our comments tonight. Leaving comments on the video afterwards, always appreciated. And again, YouTube loves an active channel, so it helps us out massively. And of course, you can share the link of the Boise Bus far and wide on whatever social media platform happens to be your poison. And of course, head over to piesports.com and use that code BUS1888. Tell them that the bus sent you and get yourself 12.5% off your tasty treat order. And with all that said, guys, let's dive into it then. Let's talk about, the game on Sunday, because I think, safe to say that we all thoroughly enjoyed that one, and talking about it a little bit more. Why not? Why not? So, yeah, obviously, it's Brendan's first major hurdle since coming back. Well, if you want to include the fact that he had quite a lot of fans against him in the first place being a hurdle, that one's still lingering a little bit, but it's results like this that are going to start to turn people around. Actually, 4 games into the season and 1 cup game down. Obviously, we're out of the League Cup, but in the grand scheme of things, I think that loss is starting to sort of fade into the background after the result of the weekend, because, it was an absolute masterclass in the end. I was obviously on the Sunday morning before the game. I wasn't exactly as confident when I saw that starting lineup, and I don't think many Celtic fans were. It was a bit of a surprise, pretty much the same team that had started against St Johnstone the week before and served up that drab 0-0 draw. And apart from Yang had dropped at the team, so there was a lot of worry, a lot of questions. But in the end, it was a sort of men against boys performance, because it was one of the ones, Johnny, that I feel like I've read this chapter before, where usually when Celtic do go to Ibrox in recent times, when we get a lead, we don't usually lose it. I actually looked through the sort of stats of recent years. And in this century, since the year 2000, only 3 times where Celtic have got themselves into a lead at Ibrox have they actually lost the game. So we've actually got a bad record. And I felt like I'd seen this one before. As the game's going on and you feel like they're getting desperate, they're running out of ideas, and you've just felt like the more they play, they're not going to score. It was just long balls into the box, and we were dealing with it. And in the end, Brendan, that's certainly going to go a long way to prove some of the doubters wrong, isn't it, Johnny?
Oh, definitely is. I mean, I don't think it's any secret on here that I was, as soon as Ange moved on, I'd said on here that I wanted Brendan Rodgers. He was the only viable option as far as I was concerned. Having said that, got home from work on Sunday morning after a 3-hour drive up from Heathrow. Been up for 20 odd hours, went to my bed for an hour and a half or so, woke up, looked at the team and thought I was still sleeping and having a nightmare, to be honest with you. And thought to myself, what the fuck is he doing? Mm-hmm. Well, what he was doing, he was showing why I was delivering cups of tea and coffee and drinks to passengers on an aircraft at 40,000 feet on a Saturday night, heading back from New York. And why he was sitting at home with his feet tucked up, with his team sorted out, because he's the football manager who knows what he's doing, and I'm just some idiot who comes on here and talks fish.
That's what
I've got to say, they scored the offside goal. Obviously, I'm screaming it's offside. Didn't think they were going to give it first. This stupid rule that they've got where they've got to let play.
Go, yeah.
But after 5 minutes, I'd actually settled down and thought, this ain't. I'm feeling quite confident about this. And then obviously we had the second disallowed goal, and I thought, as soon as I seen it, I must admit, I thought that's a foul. And then when I seen the action replay, I thought, oh well, maybe not. Then of course they went across to do the VAR. And it was quite funny watching other Rangers supporters celebrating a goal not being allowed. So, but after that, I felt it was easy street for us. I never really felt at any stage panic-stricken. And even in the second half, when it looked to me like Rangers were coming on at us, and we were sitting back deep, getting the ball cleared out of the penalty box, and it was just landing back at Rangers players and coming straight back at us, I still wasn't worried. I still wasn't concerned about it. And not even when we went into 7 minutes of injury time. Yeah, I just didn't think it was as secure a 1-0 lead as a 1-0 lead could be. I felt I was actually quite relaxed watching it.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. That's a fair summary, because I say you felt as the game was going on, and I say this is a familiar pattern. A lot of people are obviously quite intimidated about everything, rightfully so. It can be a horrible atmosphere, but you do look at the track record of Celtic over recent years, and usually when we do get a lead at Ibrox, we don't really throw it away, and they were definitely getting desperate and running out of ideas. But Connor, one of the things obviously Brendan said in his post-match, he said that he told the team before they walked out the door, I want you to play like men today. We're a young team, but I want you to play like men. And you look at the performance they did put in, especially with some of the players that were thrown in there that we had some questions over, like the Liam Scales of this world. And there was certainly a coming of age there, and what Johnny was talking about, just like the performance and the maturity and stuff like that. I remember a moment in the end during stoppage time where Callum McGregor's down. I think he'd won as a free kick, and Matt Riley's picking him up off the ground, firing him up, come on, we're almost there. And you see that camaraderie, because obviously there's been a lot of questions, Connor, about the team buying into this new system, this new style, and buying into Brendan. But I say when you see the body language like that, and the celebrations at the end, that video when they're all coming off the park and all high-fiving the cameraman, and you just see what it means to them, and it's no, they're definitely buying in. There's a wee bit of transition period. There's going to be a wee bit of adjusting going on, but you can't doubt that they're the camaradade's definitely there. And I say that moment Matt Riley's just geeing up the captain of all people, picking him up off the floor and going, come on, we've only got 2 minutes left in the clock. And it's a great moment. And you just kind of knew at that point, we're going to do this now. This is and this could be the turning point. This could be the moment that kickstarts the season, Connor, because up to now, it's been a wee bit sluggish, but that performance was a real coming-of-age performance for some of the boys.
I think old Brendan must have been showing the music video to that song from Mulan, I'll Make a Man Out of You, because I think that's what was playing the night before in the hotel, because there's a line from the start of that song, which is on Twitter quite a lot, which is Hatate. I won't repeat it on here because we'll probably get banned, but
Thank you.
If you know it, you know it. So I think Brendan must have been playing that to the lads in the hotel the night before, because that's what they did. I seen a thing today that besides Callum McGregor, that entire squad, and obviously Joe Hart, the rest of the squad, all the outfield players are 25 or below, pretty much. Besides maybe Callum, Matt and Kyogo. I mean, it's a young squad who are inexperienced and got a defence that was put together with fucking plywood and duct tape, man. It was an absolute, makeshift defence, and they stood up, and even the elder statesmen in the squad, like Joe Hart, Callum McGregor, really stood up and proved a lot of doubters wrong, including myself, because there was a lot of questions being asked, and I do think rightly so, because the performances up until that point and the transfer window weren't anything to scream about.
Yeah.
Been put in the League Cup by Kilmarnock and drew it home to the bottom team in the league, who hadn't scored a goal yet.
Yeah.
So it wasn't looking great, and then as the week goes on, they get skidded in Europe, as they usually do. The confidence builds and grows. And as soon as that lineup comes up, I was up here confidence wise, but the night before, and then as soon as that lineup came in, I was stood there. I was like, "Oh Jesus Christ!" But no, I mean, fair fucks to Liam Scales and even Lagerbielke, as Neil Lennon calls
As Neil Lennon kept calling him,
I thought he was brilliant, man. When to digress, he was brilliant in Sky Sports. But it was really great. It was such a performance that they could tell the whole team were together, and they were of one mind and one body in this thing, and just to beat them in their own midden, when they were going into this thinking, "Oh, we'll take their photo for an easy." They've got Scales and Lagerbielke, and they've got 5 players missing, and this, and it's just it was incredible, and I'm the high I've got from that victory isn't going to go away anytime soon. I just think this is a moment to cherish now, especially that we have the 2 weeks of peace of the international break.
They've got to stew on this now. Yeah,
they can stew on it, and we can bask in it, and then just love life. Now, being 4 points clear at the top of the table, where they're sitting in 4th, I believe.
4th place, all the 4s, 4 points in front, 4th place. But Liam Connor mentioned there, like their confidence going into, they're talking about taking like 3 and 4 off us, maybe even more than that. But see the way the game panned out, I think that we could have ended up winning that 3 or 4 now if we were just a little bit smarter at times in possession. Because again, while they were throwing everything forward and not getting anywhere, and we were winning the ball in good positions, try to hit them in the counter, and it was little tiny things that we were making, just wee mistakes in the final third. But it's just like we could have walked away with a 3 or a 4-0 victory there with some smarter decision making, because obviously we heard the boos. Everybody heard the boos at the end, and that was for a 1-0 defeat. Could you imagine, Liam, if we went and won that about 3 or 4-0 there? I mean, one of the moments that stands out for me is second half, we get a great break up the left-hand side, and it's Bernabei that's running up the left, and the ball's fed into him, and he's got a wee few seconds window there where he can release the ball quickly, like bend it round the last defender into O's path, but he takes too long, and by the time he passes it into O's kind of not really ready for it, and then he tries to flick it out to Yang, and it just goes out for a goal kick, and it's like, see if we just made it a wee bit quicker on that, it could have been a goal easily. And I said, with the end of it, you're like, we could have, I mean, they're talking about, obviously, will Beale survive this after that backlash they got? I think if we had put about 3 or 4 past him, I think he would have been gone this morning. But yeah, it's quite incredible to say when you look at it overall, just a few things just could have came together. At the end of the day, we can't grumble. We won the game, we got the 3 points, but it could have just been that wee bit better, couldn't it, Liam, just for a couple of smarter decisions.
Tell you what, if we'd have won 3 or 4 nothing, they'd still be looking for parts of his body, because they were already frothing at 1-0 at the end of it, and they were angry. I think we could have opened it up there. I think what we were seeing was a team coming together and just like a shape starting to form. You can see that, okay, so who are the leaders on the park now? It's not the people maybe you thought it was. Cal looked like a definite leader, but now you see Matt O'Reilly moving into that position as well. Thought Joe Hart did a great job. Thought Scales did a fantastic job. So you're seeing players right now that know who go out there and know how to battle. No, I think about 70-80%. We figured out what 78% of our team could look like. That's what it takes to win, and that's what it takes to win away. What it takes what it is to win big games. And so I think I'd like to see that. I think I've seen a lot for us going forward, as you said, Phil. There was times where it looked like we were carving them open. And I think the stuff with O and Burnaby, I think they were too cold at that point. They'd come in and the machine was running 100 miles an hour. And I think it just caught them off. I think with a bit more game time and, you know, like more practice and all that as well, I think you'll start seeing them putting that away. If no giving up, I think he'll still come really good. I thought Yang looked really good when he came on. The thing that bothered me when him and Yo messed up at one time, Yang, he wasn't tracking back as much as you see like a Diaz and Maeda or Andy or even Jota and Kyogo and all that doing that. He's very slow to track back and marking his man. He was more arguing with O at the time. I thought Odin Holmes, when he came on, I think if he'd have been on for the start, we'd have ran amok. I think he's got a intensity to his play that just sort of he leans into everything. He just does everything at pace. Talk about momentum. He just always seems to be go, go, go. And I think that's what's missing. And it's certainly missing when we've David Turnbull, you know. And so I think that bit of go, that bit of extra bit of skill, I mean, to see Sim. So I think we're starting to see the shape of what a Brendan's. This is the first start of us moving from an Ange's team to the Brendan team, and it worked. And there's no better proof than 1-0 win away. That's a big result for them. I'm happy with that.
Right. Oh, under the circumstances with the injury crisis that we had to navigate, and end of the day, his record speaks for itself. And the fixture, that's now 14 games against Rangers, 11 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss, I believe it is. That's the updated results. And I know people say, oh, well, this Rangers team that he played a few years ago was rubbish and all that. And I've even seen people, you know, because there is still fans out there, Celtic fans, who are still a bit like they still can't really give him any credit. I've still seen Celtic fans that we can talk about, it's still a rubbish Rangers team. And I'm like, for God's sake, you know, good grief, we won't play what's in front of us. We can only beat what's in front of us. It's not our fault that this Rangers team maybe deemed shite in their eyes, but it's like, whatever. He's got a great result in the fixture. And then when it comes to the league title race, they are the main opposition. So if he's got that type of record against them, it really speaks for itself. And then I mentioned the injury crisis there, Johnny. Next time we play them, obviously, it's the end of December. Quite a long stretch now. A lot of games of football to be played between then. And obviously, there's a big factor coming up. One, we'll have a lot of injured players back, you would imagine, unless some other injury crisis hits us or this continues. Fingers crossed it doesn't, because the centre-back stuff is just freakish. Even Nat Phillips turns up on an emergency loan, and he becomes part of the emergency as well. What are the chances? I think David said it best on the bladder, where he parachuted in, but he basically crashed right into the window at Lennoxtown, essentially. That's pretty much what happened there. Just freakish bad luck. So hopefully, by the time we play them again, all our major players are fit again, so it'll be a totally different team. And obviously, the fixtures are going to play a big part going forward, because one of the things that I was kind of not worried about in the grand scheme of things is with them dropping into the Europa League, they now need to move to a Thursday, Sunday schedule for a lot of weekends. 6 weekends going forward. They're going to have a Thursday night game, then a Sunday game. And what we moaned about a lot last season, where conveniently, after the second half of the season started, we seem to always be playing after them. It was some freakish number where it was like 18 times between the World Cup ending and the end of the season. We played after Rangers. It was like 18 times. It was ridiculous. So there's going to be a few games now coming up in this 4-month spell, Johnny, where I would expect we're going to be playing after them. It would be ridiculous if somehow they get moved to a Sunday and we somehow still have to play after them. So that's going to put pressure on them. As long as we keep doing our job, you know, if we win on the Saturday, or even if we're playing Sunday lunchtime and they've had a game moved from Saturday 3 o'clock to Sunday 3 o'clock, again, get a chance to play ahead of them, put a bit of pressure on. Say last season, they kept putting the ball in our court. We just kept answering. It kept returning serve every single time. But now the shoe's on the other foot, it looks like, with the Europa League schedule that they're going to have. So, yeah, a fair few fixtures over the next month is going to play with them. And also, they're in the League Cup still. And if they get to the semi-final and the final, which got to imagine they probably will, that'll be 2 weekends where we'll play a league game and they'll have a game postponed. So that could go on the back burner. And I've always had that mentality. You always want to have points on the board than games in hand. It's always the case. You know, the infamous 10 in a row season, Johnny, where people kept saying, but we've still got 3 games in hand and 4 games in hand as they were mounting up and Rangers were pulling away. You've got to win those games in hand. So you'd always rather much have the points on the board. So how do you feel about the upcoming fixture schedule? Think it is going to play a part, and do you think they will crumble if we keep doing our job?
I don't know if it will, to be fair. I think because at the end of the day, as long as we do our job, then it doesn't matter what they do. And if we keep doing our job, which is pretty much what we've done last year when we knew they were going to be playing after us, we just went out and done our job. Right, you just go and do your job now, and whether they manage it or not. So it might have. Going to depend on the mental strength of their players, isn't it? And that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah.
You know, as much as anything else. Personally, I'm not bothered whether we play before them or after them at the same time. We do our job, which is what we should do. And as you said, let's just take on the assumption that our injury crisis is going to clear up, and we're not going to have any, major injury concerns. They spent 13-15 million pounds on their rebuild. And it's their rebuild at the minute. It looks like they've knocked down a mansion and built a fucking shed.
Well, yeah,
there's nothing there that scares you. I mean, when Brendan's taking the piss and finishes our game with the likes of Burnaby playing, you look at that defence that finished the game. They never done nothing wrong. Don't get me wrong, but if you said you're going to finish that game with Ralston and Burnaby on the park. And Lager, Bielka, and Scales in the centre of the defence, we'd have shat it. But they're responding. I don't think we've got anything to worry about.
Yeah, well, obviously last season we were somewhat 18 times we were made to play after them, and we just returned serve every single time. We're like, all right, you've got 3 points back on us. Put it down at 6 points, have you? Okay, we'll put it back to 9 points the next day. So as long as we just keep doing that, then there's nothing to worry about. But I would expect by the time we do play them in December that, the gap will at least be what it is just now. But fingers crossed it's just a little bit more, because we're football fans and we're always greedy for a wee bit more. Now, Connor, as Johnny was saying there regarding the rebuild that they've done, obviously, they've knocked down a mansion and built a shed. Is it any coincidence as well that our guy Kyogo scores the winning goal, and people have pointed out that the 3 big money signings that they made up front, when you add all 3 of their goals last season together, it doesn't even come close to Kyogo. I think Kyogo scored 27, 28 last season, was it? Or did he get by 30? Am I just counting the league goals? But either way, when you add up Lammers, Danilo, and Dessers, it doesn't even come close. And yeah, it's just no coincidence that Kyogo obviously scored that goal, and it's just some finish. And what I love as well about Kyogo, Connor, is I don't know what I say if it's a criticism, right? But he does miss a lot of chances in game. You could argue the one early on where he let it go through his legs, so he might have been trying to flick it to Maida doing a wee back heel flick. But obviously the commentators deemed that was a miss, and then the one where he's one-on-one and Butland saves it. But there are strikers out there in world football who would hide after these types of misses, but not Kyogo. I say all the hat tricks and stuff that he scores, there's games where he could score 6 because he scores 3, but he misses 3 gilt-edged chances. But that's just all part of his game. And yeah, on Sunday after the 2 misses that he had in that intimidating atmosphere, he could have had, but he never does. And that finish was just out of this world. A bit like the one at Pittodrie the other week. He's put through one-on-one, and maybe we've seen times over the last couple of years where a bit of composure might be lacking, but there's no issues here, and he caught Butland out big time with that finish.
Yes. Kyogo's obviously just still on fire. Do you know what I mean? I think he scored something like 6 goals against them just this year alone in 2023, which is a fucking ridiculous record. Do you know what I mean? So, I think I'm going to start calling him Kryptonite Kyogo, because he's their Kryptonite man. Just with these games, they do not know how to handle him, and we do often see he's not getting in the play as much, he's not getting involved as much, but he does kind of need the service, and sometimes he does maybe flush his shots, or when he should lay it off for another player, he tries to take on his cell or be a bit ambitious. But you love that about him, because he could just be the fucking poaching striker who just tries to just camp on the edge of the fucking box every 10 minutes and just put in a wee pass shot in the back of the net. But he tries things that are different. He tries things that are maybe a bit, outside the box. And, that shot he had on Sunday was just absolutely incredible, man. That's going to go down as one of the all-time best goals scored against him in recent memory. And if anybody
And as well, Connor, the no fans added to how good it was because of that noise that the net makes, that clicking noise.
Hear the fucking ball in the back of the net.
Yep.
Because that goal hitting in the back of the net, they collectively just sucked the air right out their lungs, man. It was absolutely beautiful. Hearing the shock of they've just scored to the split second of them just hitting it, the favourite Rangers anthem that is just boo. So it was great. Kyogo, I don't think he'll maybe have as prolific as a goal scoring season as last. Maybe just down to the style of football, if you want to put it that way. But he will definitely, make an impact. And I'm saying that now, he's technically got top goal scorer in the league now. Still.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you know what I mean? And speaking on their players, man, I think they've signed Feyenoord's version of fucking Albion Hatate, man. I mean, Jesus Christ. They paid what, £3 million for him, and Kemar Roof, who's only just came back for his long break, he being injured for about 20 years, is started for them.
He's always injured.
And who's the other one? Is that Cifuentes? Cifuentes a striker for them?
No, it was Sima came off the bench, but Lammers is the one that missed the great chance. He went round Joe Hart and hit the side net.
Funny that, a player who scored about 2 goals in about 6 seasons misses a fucking sitter. Do you know what I mean? They've got the Brazilian Albion Hatate, and they've got the Dutch fashion Sakala playing for them, who misses a fucking open net.
Oh, he missed a few last season, actually. I think
he did.
Told him that earlier on.
The pictures going around about it, how bad the misses are. Look, by the way, a lot of that goes down to Joe Hart putting him off.
He did. Joe Hart did enough in that to put him off, by the way. He deserves a lot of credit for it.
I know we'll talk about it later, but Joe Hart deserves an absolute massive round of applause for the performance. Putting very, very mature, comfortable performance, and he doesn't have to put him off. You know what I mean? He couldn't really get nothing out of him, and I think it just shows the differences. We have a striker who's ready made for these games. Do you know what I mean? Who knows what it takes to play in these big games, who knows where the back of the net is, who can score more than just tap-ins and headers from corners. Do you know what I mean? He's a very intelligent player. He's on the razor's edge of the play. Do you know what I mean? And that's how all this shit, they were clamouring for before Andy's first season. They were like, get Barron. He's a cheating wee bastard. He's offside all the time. When he actually wasn't. Do you know what I mean? And look, they're not look, this is my last point in it. With the aim and decisions and bar. You reap what you sow, Rangers. You reap what you sow.
Yeah, it was Chris Boyd. It was the goal that you were talking about against Hearts, the one that caused a meltdown before VAR came in, where Chris Boyd sat in the studio at Sky Sports shouting at Ailey Barber across the table, when are we getting VAR in? And she's like, well, I don't know. I don't decide that. And now VAR's came in, and he was again at the weekend. This is outrageous. It's like, well, you asked for VAR. You wanted VAR so badly. Well, there you go.
Look, I'll just jump in. These are the same fucking people, man, that Neil McCann, when he's working for Sky, brings in the physical rule book.
Yeah, that's right.
Bangs it down the Sky Sports table, who yesterday, when explaining the rules to him, says, aye, that's the rules, but I didn't like it, so it should be chopped off. Away, take yourself to fuck, man. Honestly, look. Chris Boyd is a fucking walking gammon joint, man. Honestly, he's an absolute diddy who doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He's an absolute muppet. Fucking we had Big Sutty there in Sky Sports. He was just sitting there that entire time after that full-time result. He's just sitting there doing that with his big fishing rod, reeling that big boy in to say all the stupid shit he can. And you could see him trying to get him to say, like, oh, Bill has to go now. But he'll not say that because Bill was part of the team that won 55 and that. But it wasn't just last season. I think Rangers lost to St Johnstone pretty early on in the season. And Chris Boyd was saying he has to go. I don't think the league's done. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst has to go. But we'll not say that about Beale, will he? Chris Boyd's a fucking dick, man. Sorry, I went a better hand.
Sorry, Connor. We know how you feel about them. Don't mention your words, pal. Now, before we go any further, you know, guys, I love a bit of trivia and a bit of stats. I saw this doing the rounds earlier on Twitter. Love this. Patrick McLaughlin coming in to tell us. Kyogo has now scored in every net against Rangers at Celtic Park, Ibrox and Hampden. Who was the last Celtic player to do that? I genuinely don't know, but I'm sure some boffin out there will find out. But yeah, it's apparently the stats he scored at both ends at Hampden against them, both ends at Ibrox, and both ends at Celtic Park against them. So it's a very rare accolade, that one.
Larson,
so
guarantee it.
Probably will be Larson, won't it? It's got to be. The universal answer for most trivia questions when it comes to Celtic. But yeah, looking at the going forward then, Liam, and let's talk about the hand that Brendan Rodgers has now been dealt. And let's be honest, he maybe has contributed to this hand. Obviously, there was a lot of talk when he came in about players, the standard of players that were going to come in, and he himself talked about taking the club to the next level. And the transfer window maybe did have a bit of an underwhelming finish to it. At the end of the day, the window's now closed. Nothing we can do about it. This is the players that we've got going forward. And looking at obviously the performance at the weekend, and naturally, obviously, we were having to put in a bit of a, we've described already that back line, particularly how the back line, how it ended the game. It's not really a back line that we want going forward because obviously we've got some European games coming up. Now, Liam, we know how you feel about Greg Taylor. We're not going to labour that point. But obviously, left back is an area that many fans pointed out that we need to sort. And now we're heading into Champions League. We basically is either going Greg Taylor, Bernabei, or Liam, do you think that maybe Liam Scales could play his way into being a left-back option? Or do you think Brendan might even go, we're not even going to play 4 at the back. We're going to go with like 3 centre-backs and 2 wing-backs to protect them? Because, yeah, that is an area I think that's a bit of concern. But after the performance Scales put in, and I know maybe he's not the long-term answer, and maybe it's just, people are getting a bit high on it just because of that one performance. But could he be the secret weapon that we're looking for at left back? Do you think he could do enough to be in there at left back in the Champions League?
What I was talking about that the night before St Johnstone when Scales was going into the team, that it might not be a bad option. He had that game against, it was Dundee United, wasn't it? And he scored that
he scored against Dundee United. He scored against, I think, Raith Rovers in a cup game, an absolute screamer.
Aye. And I remember seeing his highlight reel when he came to Celtic, and he was a left back. He was playing left back in Ireland, and I thought he looked good. He looked robust. He was athletic. He was everything I thought we needed, and I still think that's what we need. It's nothing against Greg Taylor. I don't like the amount of times he's on media and all that shit. And I hate hearing fucking leader, and he's like one of the loudest in the pitch, because that would drive me mental if I was playing with a guy like that. Get the basics right before you tell everybody else what to do. But I think we need somebody on that part that's physical, good in the air, and can play for the back. And I think if you can teach Greg Taylor to be a left back, why can't we have the patience and reward Liam Scales for the game on Ibrox, where he played out the skin and done really well, and give him a shot. Give him a shot at that part of the park and see what he's like. I mean, it could be very much a mirror image of what we've got with Johnson. The same sort of physicality, and it's the same thing. Give him a clear, outlined role to play of what's from him, and see if he can do that at a better degree than Greg Taylor. And it's not that much, really. The way Brendan plays, it's a 10-yard pass, standing still. I think Scales has got more to his game than Taylor. I could see Scales beating a man. I can see Scales dueling against guys in the air and physicality and all that. I don't see that for Taylor, and I don't see it for Bernabei. And I think the modern game has changed. I don't think you're seeing players now, teams, putting wee guys as fullbacks. Andy Robertson might be the last of his breed. And, we've been trying to replace Kieran Tierney, but we've been replacing them with guys that are completely different physically and don't have the same aggressive qualities and all that. And yet we're expecting them to do the same as Kieran Tierney. So I think Scales could be a logical choice to move there. And I think it'd be a great way of saying, all right, you know what? Well done, Sunday. You came out as one of the leaders in the part of the team and all that. Let's get a shot. I'd be willing to see it for a game or two.
Because the thing is, I know that there'll be fans that will say, well, Scales isn't Champions League level. But I say, sadly, this is the hand that we've now been dealt that we're going to have to play. We've got to choose between him, between Bernabei, and between Taylor to play if we're going to play at a left fullback in any of these Champions League games against Atletico Madrid, Lazio, or Feyenoord. So I say, maybe, obviously, Brendan, though he could have contributed to that. Maybe he wasn't forceful enough pushing through transfers. The club dilly-dally, we've went over these points enough times about the sort of underwhelming finish to the window. I thought we would have a big flurry at the end of the window. I thought there would be marquee players. Maybe I'm just naive. Maybe it was blind faith in Brendan Rodgers, but I did think that. But in the day, it's now done. Nothing to do about it. Brendan has said himself he will coach the players that he is given, which worried a few people the way he worded that. Well, this is the squad you've been given, Brendan, and yeah, he's going to have some big choices to make. And the thing is, Johnny, as well, we don't want to pick on Greg Taylor too much, but it has been a noticeable drop-off, and it's like, I know there's the old expression, you don't become a bad player overnight, and last season he showed, or the last 2 seasons under Ange in that system, he's very good. He was a candidate for Player of the Year last season. There were many fans that were genuinely saying, Greg Taylor is our Player of the Year last season, and he's had a huge offer. There's Liam, he's not having it. He's like, nah, forget it. He's made his mind up. But nowadays, obviously, Brendan's decided, I want you playing like how I had Kieran Tierney playing as a left back, get up that line, get crosses in, and he's shown that he just can't do it. And the amount of times he gets caught in possession, there's a few times again there at Ibrox at the weekend where their fans were obviously getting on top of them during the game because they were just standing off us at times. And I remember Greg Taylor being on the ball a few times, and obviously they're booing from the stands. And there's no to intimidate Taylor, it's because their own players are under pressure. Because then he's got the freedom of Ibrox in front of him, but all that time to pick a pass, and he tries to play a ball like up the line to Maeda, and multiple times it goes out of play, and it's like the amount of times he keeps on like giving them the ball back. I said earlier on when I was talking to like Liam about if we just made a few smarter decisions when we were trying to catch them on the counter, we could have scored a few more. But there's wee things like that where we're winning the ball back, and then he's trying to play like a pass up the outside of the line, and it's like just go straight for a throw in. Maeda's back's turned to it and everything, and it's like what has happened there? So the left back position, if we can identify, Liam's had so much Greg Taylor chat. He's had enough. He's like, no, too much Greg Taylor chat going on here. But yeah, if we as fans can see that this is quite a weak point for us, then you've got to imagine that like Diego Simeone, Maurizio Sarri, and Arne Slot, the managers of these 3 Champions League teams are going to be playing, they've probably identified that left back might be a bit of a weak area. So out of the 3 choices we've got, would you favour any? Or Johnny, would you think we probably need to change formation? Because we are going to be under the cosh a lot in these European games, I think, and we're going to have to batten down the hatches. And maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to have 5 defenders on the park and try and weather the storm a wee bit.
Yeah, I think we probably be better to change the system, which is something that Brendan won't be shy in doing if he feels that that's what's needed against whatever the opposition that we happen to be playing, whether it be in the league or a cup or in Europe. I don't rate Bernabei. I think Bernabei's probably slightly better going forward than Taylor. I think he could probably put in a better ball, but he can't defend, and that's the main priority of his job. Really, is to defend. I like my defenders to be able to defend. Scales never seen enough of him to play at full back or at left back, but he's going to be worth a try, I would think. I don't see Bernabei being. I'm not quite in Liam's camp with regarding Taylor, but I'm definitely in the judges' camp regarding Bernabei. I just don't think he's just not the quality that not only we require, anybody requires, I think, to be honest, defensively. So when you come down to your last option, then we need to have a look at him and get him playing that position. Maybe the next few league games. How we've only got 1 league game before.
We played Dundee when we come back from the break, and it's at Celtic Park, and then we've got Feyenoord on the Tuesday night or the Wednesday night. But yeah, that midweek is Feyenoord in Rotterdam. So an away game to start as well. Celtic away from home in Europe. Oh yes. Hide behind the couch time.
Yeah, just write down what minute you think we're going to lose and put a goal in the first 10. Yeah, okay. would give Scales a go against Dundee at fullback, just so they can see whether he's worth it, whether he's got it. Because I think Liam's right there. I think when he did sign him, he did play quite a lot of football as left back over in Ireland, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
So it's not like you're throwing him into a position that he's not familiar with. Although obviously you're quite a few levels up. But yeah, I would go along with Liam on the let's give Scales a go at it. Not to just reward him because he's had a good game on Sunday. That may well turn out to be the best game he ever plays for Celtic. But and you can't take that away from him. He had a good game, and he was a stalwart in the team on Sunday. But he's not going to. We all know he's not the long-term answer in that position, or he's not likely to be the long-term answer in that position. But yeah, give him a go at fullback and see what like. I think he could be any worse than what we've got already.
Yeah, we'll maybe get a clue then when we play Dundee, because they say that is a type of game at home against them that you can maybe try something out. So if for example, that lineup comes out that day and Nat Phillips is recovered from parachuting into the window at Lennoxtown, then maybe Scales pops up at left back. Maybe that will give you a clue, but we'll wait and see. But yeah, ultimately, say it's a hand that Brendan's now got to work with. He's got to choose something, so we'll see what he comes up with if he's going to be playing, whether it's a left fullback, left wing back. Somebody's got to go out there. So yeah, this is what we've got to roll with for the next few months anyway, until January. But Connor, let's take a moment just to appreciate another fullback in the team who's obviously now back from an injury. Although he did go off after 65 minutes. Hopefully, it was just a precaution. But Alistair Johnson had a phenomenal game. I thought he was very, very solid. I think he was good at winning his free kicks when we needed it to relieve a bit of pressure. And there was a few moments where he just did that thing where you're just like, he gets it. He understands, where he was winning free kicks and he's got a wee wry smile on his face. Like Matt Riley's coming over and picking him up off the ground, or whoever it is, his teammate, picking him up. And he's got that sort of smirk on his face. Like, I know what I just did there. Yeah, it's like Kamar Roof was trying to pressure him. So he just basically leaned into him, fell over, won as a free kick, kills the play. And it's just like, I've got them rattled here. I've just, just a bit streetwise. And this is something, Connor, that we've talked about so much going into European football, because we always get done by teams that are very streetwise. We're going to be playing a team who are the kings of being streetwise, or shithousery, if you want to call it, Atletico Madrid. Diego Simeone, practically, that is his whole method of football, just shithousery FC. We're going to need players with that mindset of Alistair Johnson that can stand up to that stuff and maybe win us a few sly free kicks and that all around the park, because he did that pretty well, I felt, at the weekend a few times, where, just kills their momentum, kills the pressure. And, hopefully, when going off after 65 minutes, it's just a more precautionary thing, because we cannot be having him out for another couple of months, because he's so vital, isn't he, Connor?
No, I think he's so important, and he's my beloved lumberjack. That's the nickname I've penned for him. Do you know what I mean? I just think whatever fucking big Douglas fir comes draped in a Union Jack and a Rangers top, and he just cuts it down. But yeah, I think Brendan did confirm that he did took him off just as a precaution. He said he played 60 minutes last week. Yeah. He played 60 minutes a day. He said, I'm just trying to wrap him in cotton wool, which, by the way, is a fucking ballsy move at Ibrox. Only a go up, put it into the Alson. But, I think that just goes to show the confidence that Brendan has in his players, what he's distilled in them. And I think it all just goes to paint how fucking shite they are, that they can't, beat, Andy Ralston, who's, not playing as well as what he used to a couple of seasons ago. Filling it right back for an injured Alistair Johnson. But I think when it does come to this shit housery, I love it, man. He just winds the bastards up to fucking no end, man. Yep. People think that fucking people like Todd Cantwell and that and Tavernier and all that get our go. I mean, they do it a couple of times on social media, but wait till you actually do it on the fucking pitch. Do what Alistair Johnson can do. Prove your merit on the pitch. Show them your skill. Show them your worth as an actual player. You know what I mean? You lace your boots, you put your shin pads in. Show them what you're actually fucking made of. Instead of putting it wee gimpy fucking Instagram quotes and shit like that, try to win people up. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
so
yeah.
I know
he does read what he shows there. You know?
Exactly. You know what I mean?
Aye.
Fuck, I'm a fucking wee Jesse, man. Honestly. I mean, do you know see where Mattarelli fucking sent him for a fucking hot dog? He just tried to come charging at him in the box. Up he went and got mustard and ketchup and onions put on it for him.
I said they also it was no surprise that late on in the game, with the despotism setting in, he was the one that threw himself theatrically to the ground in the box. And I was like, well, I saw that one coming. We've read that one before. But yeah, obviously they weren't getting that one. But yeah, it's right. They do mouth off a lot and like to say a lot of things on social media, but ultimately it usually backfires in their face. And yeah, it just following up there again, Liam, because we know how much you love Alistair Johnson, obviously being over there in Canada. And yeah, he's just such a vital one to have back. And as I say, like European games in particular, we come up against so many teams that do that type of stuff back to us, very sneakily win free kicks and that. So it's good to have somebody in the team that's got that mentality. Do we have enough people in the team that have got that mentality? Who knows? I mean, I can think of somebody who's currently playing in the MLS that traded life in Scotland to the MLS that I think would have been a good shout for that. We've talked about it many times, but again, we move on. That's the card that's been dealt. Giakoumakis is away now. Can't do anything about it. But Alistair Johnson is going to be so vital as well. And sort of playing in a defensive position that he does. So we're going to have a lot of pressure raining down on us in some of these games. So a guy there that knows how to sort of win it, buy us a wee free kick to relieve some pressure. He's going to be so vital, isn't he, Liam? And he's muted. Liam, unmute yourself.
Aye.
There we go.
I'm back in time, Phil. I'm sorry, I had to. Greg Taylor disconnected my internet.
I said when you went off, I said you've had enough Greg Taylor chat and you've just decided to come away. Too much Greg Taylor going on here.
In the bin with it. No, Alistair Johnson, I'm surprised we didn't go back into that market again. Look at the success that we've had there, and then look at the way Giakoumakis is doing down there. All right, we're seeing what's happening, watching the MLS. It's having a bit of a resurgence again, and for a guy that came just absolutely perfect to play for us, why are we not going back there again? And so that would make sense to me. The one guy I've got my eye on, and this is a guy first of all, Alistair Johnson and trash talk. I love that. I think he's going to be a right nippy wee bastard on the park. Big enough that he can back himself up. But see, one of the advantages of watching Canadian ice hockey in the arenas is it echoes. You can hear everything. And I'm telling you, hockey trash talk is brilliant, man. The shit they say.
They enjoy a fight in the ice rink, don't they? They enjoy a proper bit of fisticuffs.
On the ice and in the stands, aye. I've seen some fights in the stands.
Is that not one of the only sports where they're actually allowed to physically batter fuck at each other? Like, genuinely?
Aye.
Wow.
Because you know what? Because that's how you're running about with blades and sticks. So there has to be some sort of control on there that the referees can't handle. So if you have to take it into your own hands, you take it into your own hands. Hockey's great that way. It's hard. It's fun, But and he's got that. His brother was supposed to play professional hockey, and he grew up in the same street as Connor McDavid, who plays for Edmonton Oilers. He's like Gretzky, right? He's like one of the best players in the NHL, but he's also a big trash talker. And so he comes for all that. So going back to the Canadian market and Ali Johnson, right? It's a guy that he's played with for a couple of years now. The guy played junior with I think Vaughan Selects. That's a big team in Canada. They played together on that team. Then they came through Montreal together, and then they played in the Canadian national team together. And right now, Kamal Miller, he's a really good defender, plays centre back. If you're watching any of Messi's games in the MLS, he's the big guy that's playing either centre back or left back, and he's an absolute unit. He's got physicality. I sent you guys some of the highlight reels of the last game where Inter Miami played against LA. And there was a whole highlight reel on him. Some of his tackles were unbelievable. And he's got that same sort of drive as Ali Johnson, where he's getting up and he's celebrating a tackle and all that, like getting in hard and the physicality. I don't see that coming from anywhere on our left side right now. And so I'm hoping he gets his year in the glory with Messi, and that we've maybe have arranged to bring Ali Johnson's pal to Celtic Park in January. That would be my big sort of tip for the MLS. And bring big GG with him as well. Knows his head. Knows a kebab.
a resident scout there out in Canada. Yeah, get that information forwarded on to the scouting team, Liam. Get it forwarded on because I mean, at the end of the day, Alistair Johnson's shown what he can do. Coming in and he's fitting seamlessly. He actually made his debut at Ibrox, back in January and came through that with flying colours. And yeah, as all the shithousery stuff, like the trash talking, it's going to go a long way to help us and that attitude on the park because this European campaign coming up is going to be quite an interesting one. We'll have to batten down the hatches in a few of those games. But but just again, looking forward to that. Obviously, Rio Hatate is going to be huge because obviously, Johnny, he put off contract talks. We were told anyway through his agent, he decided to put it off till after the window. And obviously, the reading between that as well, he'll still be here after the window because there was a lot of panic that he was going to go. People thought he's working his ticket. He's definitely going to get sold before the window. But no, obviously, he's still here, currently injured. But again, this is his chance. So if he does want that big move, if he is working his ticket, so to say, this is the arena where he's got to do it. These are 6 Champions League games because people applaud that moment last season against Real Madrid, the pass from you get the throw in and it just came in, you hit it on the half volley and pinged it right across the park. But of course, the bottom line is it's a game that we lost 3-0. It's that's an amazing pass. That was absolutely fantastic. Put that on your Instagram reels, whatever you want to do. That's phenomenal. YouTube highlights, whatever. But it's a game that we still lost. We need to have guys like him on it this time because you're looking at that group again, and maybe we're being naive. Maybe I'm being naive by saying it, but again, you look at the group and you go, we can click here. There is teams that we can take points off, but again, we're going to have to erase all those silly mistakes that always seem to happen to Celtic. We're going to have to deal with all them. But guys like Hatate are going to be crucial. So once he's back, and hopefully he's right back into the team, because we were talking earlier on about Taylor. Seeing a few people in the chat saying, Taylor is one that needs to be phased out, but also Turnbull. And I had high hopes when I saw Turnbull at the start of the season, Johnny, where he had a good start against Ross County, scored the 2 goals. He looked okay, but the games he's played since then, it's kind of passed him by. And it's like, you want him to, be the player that we think he can be. But at the moment, if it's just not there, but once Hatate's fit, to get him back in the team is going to be so vital. And yeah, if the bottom line is, Johnny, that he wants that big move to a top European club in a top league, then this is where you're going to have to show it in the Champions League.
Oh, without a doubt. I know we got a lot of money for Jota when he moved off to the land of unlimited riches. Hatate, I don't think, wants to go in that direction. Hatate wants to go for one of the big teams in Europe, if not the Premiership, then probably Spain. And he is going to have to put in the performances that's going to merit that. And I think that's what he's hoping to do, which is why he's trying to keep himself available for a January transfer, possibly. Not that we're getting playing any more Champions League if we've got him cup tied playing for us, but it puts him in that shop window. If he had any interest in staying with us longer, either just extended it by a year or two, then it would have been done before the end of the transfer window. There would have been none of this. Let's wait and see. We'll talk about it again after the transfer window closes, because that to me is a definite. I'm keeping this door open, and I just don't want to shut it. Even just by adding an extra year to my contract for an extra few quid, when whatever extra few quid he would get if he signed an extension to our contract that we've got with him, he would earn that in his new contract wherever he went anyway. So he's not losing it. He's not going to lose out on any money. I think he's definitely planning. If he's not gone by January, he'll definitely be gone by the beginning of next season. And I think that's what he's hoping to do now, is back up some of the stuff that he did show last year. I know but the main one we keep talking about is the pass against Real Madrid, which was a wonderful, wonderful piece of football.
Oh, aye. Well, there's no doubt about it.
But he probably has to do a bit more of the same to really get them not only looking, but reaching for the checkbook as well. But I think when it comes down to Turnbull on his best day, doesn't get in front of Hatate on his worst day. That's just the cold hard facts of it for Turnbull, I'm afraid. He's a decent player, but he's not gonna do anything against Hatate. Hatate gets in that all things being equal, Hatate gets in that team every week before Turnbull does, because he just makes things happen.
All right, without a doubt, he's one of the best players in the squad. And for whatever reason, the way things have started, Brendan's just decided to, I don't know, just play hardball with him, just keep him out of the team, and see a lot of stories flying around. He was trying to work a move and whatnot, but evidently he's still here. But we do need to be a little bit aware, Connor, that there is a certain transfer market that is still open right now. Obviously, Saudi Arabia do still have their window open, I believe, till the 27th of September. Before Jota moved to Saudi Arabia, there was talk of Hatate being linked with one of the Saudi teams. Do you think we need to worry about that, or do you think that'll just be that'll go nowhere? Or do you agree with Johnny? It's going to be at least January that we'll have him to anyway.
Nah, I don't going to worry about for the Saudis, mate. I think if they wanted him, they'd fucking get him like that, man.
I would have got
that
him.
much money and that much influence. They'd be like, they'd just say to him, right, come on, we'll get you a pad, your own mansion filled with fucking tigers and, your own concubines and all the rest of it, man. He'd be off in a flash, man. It wouldn't matter, do you know what I mean? If they wanted him, they would have him by now.
Yeah.
I think... I don't see him going. I genuinely don't see him going. There was rumours that he's put off the contract talks for now.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's open to discussions later on in September. The rumour was that's not in the forefront now. I mean, look, if he does sign one, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to stay. For all we know, he could be doing a Stuart Armstrong signing a 1-year extension just so we can get as much money for him as possible. However, I think the links and the rumours and that there's nothing been massively concrete for him, as opposed to Yakimakis, Jota, when they were rumoured to be going, there was proper links there. All it's been coming up with this is speculation at most.
Yeah.
There's nothing really concrete. And in terms of the Saudi League, I think apparently his agent said that Hatate spoke to him and says he wants to play in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? That's what he wants to do because I think he's that good a player. He could be playing top 6 Premier League teams easy. I'm surprised that Postecoglou never came in for him. But no, sorry, I'll rephrase that. I'll rephrase that. I'm actually not surprised because I think as much as dear old Uncle Ange gets a slagging because he left in that because people just can't accept that people want to move on to bigger paychecks than football, even though it's a natural way of things. Everybody was convinced he's going to come and take all our best players. He's not done that. Do you know what I mean? And he could easily help that Tottenham team. So I think he just got a bit of integrity about him, saying no, he's good for Celtic. He was good there. I'll just leave him there and I'll work with what I've got. Hatate, I think, is so important for us. Even the couple of cameos and that he has had under Rodgers, he does the things like Turnbull, right? A ball will come to him in the middle of the pitch. He could have a player to his left, a player to his right. He'll hold it, have a look about it, be like, fuck, I can't do it, miss, and pass it back or pass it to the side. Hatate, well, by the time the ball was coming to him, took it, flicked around him, and got past those two players, and he's already making a dart for the box to link up with Kyogo or Abad or whoever. That's how good he is. He's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps ahead of everybody else in that pitch. His football and IQ is stupendous. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And he's so important. And I do think what Rodgers has maybe done is shown him a bit of tough love.
Maybe, aye.
Because he started Turnbull a game, Turnbull was shite, and he dropped him, and then I think they played home. And he's played, I think that was when Hatate was injured, possibly. But I think we need to just wait and see. I'm never going to say never, because I think with the football landscape right now, it's so all over the place, you never know what's going to happen. But what I will say is for as long as Hatate's here, I think he's going to be absolutely integral to this team. He's going to, him, McGregor, Holm, O'Reilly, this new Portuguese boy, however they work out, I think they'll be very, very good and they'll be very, very important for us going forward. And I think, even if he is planning to go, by the way, I think he'll get put in performances because we've put him on the stage. We've put him on the global stage in terms of football. I mean, if he wasn't playing for Celtic, there wouldn't really anybody be talking about him saying, "What about that fucking pass he made against Real Madrid?"
He'd still be in Japan.
He'd still be in Japan, or he'd be playing for a fucking championship side in England, something like that. Do you know what I mean? So I do think he owes quite a lot to Celtic, and I do think he will repay that in kindness before he does leave by putting in good performances and showing what he does do. I'll bet a fiver with you, Phil, right? I'll bet a fiver with you right now, putting a bet.
All right.
Or if you're a betting man.
What?
Fiver bet right now. Hatate's first game back, he'll get an assist and he'll score.
Oh, wow. That's a big one. I mean, I'm not going to doubt it. I mean, you want to put a bet on me, but I'm like, that seems fair. I mean, I'm just like, really, it's not like I'm disagreeing with that, but I get what you mean, though. He's that much an influence that he could come right back in and just do that. He could, because he's proved that he's that good. So hopefully we see him back sooner rather than later. I say this final game is bearing down on us in September the 19th, I believe it is, in Rotterdam. So yeah, hopefully he's back and fighting fit for that one. But Liam, we've just passed the hour, so final word to you, wise man. Look into your crystal ball and make a prediction here. Is this season, Champions League campaign, are we going to see an end to the birthday-cared pish that comes with Celtic in the Champions League? Are we going to finally be a force again, especially at home? We're no longer going to get the 5-star tourist recommendations. You know, clubs come into Celtic Park and be like, "Oh, really enjoyed our game at Celtic Park. Loved that atmosphere," as they go away with a 4-0 victory. Is this the season we end this birthday-cared pish and Celtic Park becomes the fortress it can be again?
No, because I think I'd be a hypocrite in saying I the one result against Rangers. I don't agree with guys like Mark and the bus and yourself, Phil. We didn't do enough to strengthen. And I put it, you know, I talk about Greg Taylor, but I use that as a measuring stick to see that was an obvious glaring position that everybody could see needed filled.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And unless this is like a stroke of like he's always had skills moving in there, or you know, what's the other boy, Welsh? I don't know. Like, is he going to try and convert one of the 7 centre backs we have into that position, or go and change it completely so we start playing at 3 at the back? So if we change it 3 in the back and we start getting results, and then we start find ways to keep your best players on the park and give them positions and roles like Hatate, then I'm optimistic. If it's still square Gregs and round holes, we're out.
Square Gregs and round holes. So it's a resounding no there from the wise man. He's looked into the future and he's predicted that no, we're still going to be up against it. And I understand why, because the team, and at the end of the day, though, I have made a point recently about it's not necessarily the personnel on the park, it's going to be the tactics on the night. And hopefully Brendan Rodgers has learned a thing or two from his run that he had with Leicester City to the semi-finals of the Conference League, because if he deploys the same tactics that he did first time around when he was Celtic manager in the Champions League, oh boy, we're in for a rough time. So I'd like to think he's got a few aces up the sleeve, but we will deal with that when we come to it. But yeah, guys, that's been over an hour now, so that wraps up a Tuesday ticket, I would say, and a good show. So I think the plans for the rest of the week, so obviously we're in a national break now, is tomorrow night. I believe Russell is having a catch-up with Tony from Four Tims in a Pod, which was a thing they were going to be doing monthly. So they're going to do that. Obviously, it's hitting the national break. TNF will be on Thursday night. There'll be no Friday feeling this week because it clashes with the Scotland game. And I'm one of these fans that's quite interested to watch Scotland right now. One of these fair weather fans that suddenly jumped on board going, I like watching Scotland now. I'm going to watch the Scotland game. But yeah, I've only got my Viaplay subscription is literally on I've got the online one for my PC, and this screen that I'm in front of right now is the only place that I can watch it on this screen, and that would be on at the same time as that Friday feeling. And but realistically, it's international break. There isn't really much to talk about right now. But yeah, for the rest of the week, we'll have Russell and Tony on tomorrow and TNF on Thursday night, and the weekend, I believe we'll start with a Sunday Blair on whatnot. But yeah, we'll be heading off just now, and guys, whatever you've got up to for the rest of the night, enjoy it. For Liam down there, enjoy the rest of your day, sir, because you've still got pretty much a whole day ahead of you. Fair play. And yeah, we'll be back on. Hit that subscribe button to be notified when the bus goes live. But yeah, we'll be back on tomorrow night. Look out for Russell and Tony doing the little monthly recap. And guys, we shall catch you later. Thanks for watching. Remember, hit that like button on the way. See you guys.
Cheerio.
Cheers.